Hello, you're welcome to Living a Full Life Forum. Today we are discussing coping strategies during stressful times. Coping strategies are basically ways in which we manage difficult emotions and life's challenges. And one thing that is always true is that challenges will come, stressful times will come, they come in waves, they come in seasons. However, it's important that at the end of every stressful time, we stand out stronger than ever if we don't waste the lessons that we learn in those times. I was sharing with a friend of mine a few days back about the issues she's experiencing. Her husband lost the job, her business is struggling, it is not easy financially for the family, and at one point she was contemplating leaving her home. So I asked her if that was going to solve the problem for now or lighten the burden anyway, and she just didn't have a clear answer for that. And we went ahead to discuss, the seasons in life that we go through, especially the dry season. Currently, we're experiencing a dry spell, January to March. Now, at this point, however much you wish, however much you pray for the rain may come, but it will not come as much as it would in a wet season. So the best that we can do when it's a dry season is to try and adapt our lifestyle. For instance, put on light clothes, economize the water, use irrigation if possible, and do not plant seedlings that require a lot of water at this point. So we just have to adapt. And at the end of the season, if we learn our lessons well, if we prepare well, it will prepare us better for the next season. And we went ahead to discuss so many things about whatever she was going through. And then we came up with some, coping strategies, especially in this season of dryness. So you may be experiencing some stressful moments. Quitting may not be the answer always. At times it may, but many times it may not be. But the moment we pull through the season and we are able to go up to the end of it, learning every bit of lesson, it puts us at a higher level to face the next season in our life. And so we are going to discuss some 4 strategies by which we can navigate, some of these difficult times so that at the end of it all, we are stronger than ever. The first is during a stressful moment, it's important that we do emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is basically keeping in control, our emotions and not allowing them, to drown us down. In science, whenever the body is stressed, when a person is experiencing, difficult times, the stress hormones rise up. So the body is in a hyper alert state. And at that point, the emotions are very erratic and they may not really be in line with whatever is going on. They are most times very exaggerated. So it is important that we know how to regulate these emotions so that at the end of it all, they don't drain us down. So some of the ways by which we can regulate these emotions is by having what we call the deep breathing exercises. When you take in a deep breath during a very intense moment, when you breathe in deeply and then breathe out through your mouth, breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth, what it does is that it helps to calm the body by reducing the heart rate. So when the heart rate goes down, then the body is calmed to some degree. So that has been shown to help a lot during anxious moments, to treat anxiety, to, in fearful moments. So when you have those high emotions during difficult times, just take time to breathe in and out, and then fill your lungs with air and try to relax within that time, because at the end of it all, it's going to really help you. The second thing we can do to regulate our emotions is to make sure that we are mindful of the emotions going on a daily basis. When you wake up feeling angry or feeling fearful or feeling very sad, it's important that you take note of that, step back a bit and find out the source of this emotion. Many times it may be because of what is going on, but sometimes it's actually because of a past event. You may be drawing from your past unhealed emotional wounds. And now that one ends up exaggerating this experience that you're going through. So make sure you acknowledge the emotion and then try to get the root cause and challenge the ones that are really exaggerated. because you do not want the past emotions to keep feeding into the present. And that is why it is very important that we always go through emotional healing. When we've gone through difficult times, especially those childhood experiences, by this time we should be learning how to relieve them, find out the root causes of these emotional traumas, relieve them, and then forgive and let go, because they keep feeding into our current emotions. So be very mindful about your emotional state when it's a very stressful time. Okay. So the other thing that you want to do around this time, especially when the emotions are high up there, keep your mind focused on the positive. There's what we call visualization. You can actually imagine a very good scenario, a calming scenario at that point when the emotions are high up, whether in fear or anxiety. So you can imagine a calm place, a water, a place that has, that is flowing very well and has a lot of greenery. Or you can focus your mind and emotions towards the end of this season that is actually going to turn out very well. Just be positive at that point. Focus on the positive. Turn your emotions over into something that is positive. When you do that, it has a way in which it can actually reduce the stress you're experiencing at that point. Okay, so emotional regulation is very important. The second is what we call cognitive reframing. This has a lot to do with our thoughts. Our thoughts have direct effects on our emotions. When you wake up and you are thinking negative, just know within a few minutes, your emotions will catch up with the negativity and you'll just feel very negative. When you wake up feeling elated and positive about life, suddenly you'll have energy flowing through you, and you'll have the grace and the guts to go through the day very well. So meaning our thoughts really do a lot. So whenever it is a stressful moment, there is a tendency for the body to gravitate towards negative thoughts. So you have to be mindful of that. Do not allow every thought that comes in your mind to flow and have its way, and then you go down the drain along with it. So we have to be in control of our thoughts. When the thoughts are negative, then make sure you get hold of that. If it is a fearful thought, a sorrowful thought, get hold of it. Find out where it is coming from. Is it from this current circumstance you're going through, or some other past traumas that you experienced that is feeding this? And then try to challenge the negative thoughts. It's important to always challenge every negative thought, because there is no situation that is permanently negative all throughout. Every negative situation has some bit of positivity about it. So as I was discussing with this friend of mine about the situations of the school fees, the lack of school fees for the children, I went ahead to ask her that, okay, now you have these floods of thoughts, of negative thoughts about, how the children are going to study this year. Okay, let's look at the worst scenario. In case there is totally no money and they end up not studying this year, what will happen? Are they going to die? Is it going to mean that they are totally failures? And so we had to challenge this negative thought. Sometimes going to the worst scenario can help dampen, that sharp edge that is piercing, that seems to be scary. And then I went ahead to tell her that I have my own child who hasn't been able to go to school for quite some time because of sickness. So in my scenario, the school fees may be there, but there's a sickness situation. Now, does that mean that life has ended for me or for my child? No. So we have to challenge every negative thought, with a positive one. Then the other problem she had was about the business failing. So like, okay, if this business fails at this point, does that equate the circumstance of that? Does it equate to your failure in life? Because sometimes when the negative thoughts come, they magnify themselves so much. It feels as if your whole life is dependent on that, thought that you are having at that point. So when we challenge this, we are basically doing what we call cognitive reframing. We are trying to analyze our thoughts and turn the other page so that we realize that it's not all about this particular event. Life is much bigger than that. So that can really help you to cope during a stressful moment. Okay, so we've looked at the cognitive reframing. We've looked at the emotional regulation. The third, which is very important, especially for parents, is relaxation and self-care. Relaxation and self-care. We were sharing about, how many parents throw their lives into the parenting role and everything, and many times they forget their own emotional well-being just because they want to give their best, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. But you see, if you spend all the energy you have into taking care of others, then you will have no reserve to take care of yourself. And the moment you don't take care of yourself, then you will not be in a position to take care of others. So the better you take care of yourself, the better you will be placed to take care of other people. Sounds like, a bit selfish, but it's actually very true that we have to learn to prioritize our needs, our well-being. The stronger you are, the better you will be in a position to help other people who are weak. So there's always a saying that when you are chasing your enemy, make sure you reserve some energy for coming back. So when you're chasing this stressful moment, you're trying to put things to work, make sure you reserve some energy for coming back, because it will be of no point to lose all the energy while you're in the enemy camp and then be killed from there. Yes, so make sure you have time to relax. And there are many relaxation techniques that you can use. And they're all over. But some of the things you have to focus on are your own hobbies. Have time to do things that you like to do yourself, things that are for you. Because then you're able to refresh yourself and gain more energy to help other people. Other self-care things include exercise, physical exercise. That is very important. I was actually telling my friend that, when you spend more energy running, skipping, and doing all these things, you will find that you will be energized. The blood flow will increase in your muscles that have been tense for a long time. And then exercise also releases some good hormones that elevate our moods. So it's very important for us to focus on that. A good diet. Make sure you have your balanced diet. Take plenty of water. Get ample sleep. The issue of sleep with parenting is very critical. There are many mothers who are just so sleep deficient that they are extremely irritable. When you don't pay your sleep debts, you end up becoming very irritable, and it worsens situations when it is a difficult moment, when it's a stressful moment, because no one wants to be near an irritable parent. No child wants to grow up in that situation. So take time for self-care, take time for relaxation, take time to have walks, take time to do the things that you like to do. The fourth, which is really the crowning bit, is the problem-solving focus. There is a tendency in stressful situations to focus on the problem and give 80% of your time to the problem and ruminate around it. And yet, the more you focus on a problem, the more it becomes magnified. So when you do problem focus, then you miss out a lot. So at this point, you should be having a mindset of a solution focus. Yes, I know there is a problem. So give 20% of your attention to the problem and then 80% of your attention to the solutions. And some of the ways you can do this is to look at the problem and break it down. If it looks so big and very amorphous, just try to break it down. And then write down the solutions. For instance, if it's a school fees problem and you're wondering how on earth these children are going to study, or let me bring it closer to those who do business. the month is about to end and you have all these salaries to pay and all these bills to meet, and the business hasn't been doing well. So you can break it down at this point. How much are we going to spend on water this time, on electricity, on the salaries? Are we going to pay the staff members 100% of their salaries and then possibly reduce on these other bills, use less water, and then use less electricity? Are we going to try to regulate our expenditures in many different ways? Which are other avenues that we can look at for getting money? So now when you focus on the solution, it turns the creativity light on. You end up becoming more creative, in your thinking, in your ideas. And make sure you write them down. As you get any problem that comes, as you break down the problems, write down the different solutions for each problem. When you do that and you focus more on the solution, suddenly you'll find that the energy will rise up. There's a way in which solution focus, the problem-solving focus, it brings the energy high, while the focus on the problem itself drains our energy and it takes away our creativity. So at these times, when things may not be easy and there are so many things that come our way, some very stressful events, make sure that you have a focus of solving the problem. Give 80% of your time, your energy, your ideas, your talks to the solution, and only 20% of the time to the problems. Always remember that when a challenge comes, when a mountain, presents itself before you, it always desires a lot of your attention. And the more attention you give to the problem, the more it becomes magnified. And then it becomes totally impossible to solve. But when you focus your eyes away from the problem and look at the solutions and look at other things and realize that your whole life is not dependent on just this one thing, then life becomes easier to navigate through. So as we go through the stressful times and, try to make the best of life, let us remember that the coping strategies are very important. Your emotional regulation, make sure you keep your emotions positive, keep them under check, be aware of them, and focus them in a positive way. The second is take charge of your thoughts, the cognitive reframing. Do not allow negative thoughts to have their way all throughout your life. Make sure you challenge them and, replace them with the positive ones. Make sure you have time to relax, have time for self-care, and then finally, have the problem-solving focus, giving 80% of your time and energy in the solution finding for a particular problem and less time on the problem itself. Thank you for being part of Living a Full Life Forum. Please do subscribe and share these videos with your friends, with your loved ones. I believe some people will really benefit and they will thank you for it. Thank you. Have a lovely day.